Welcome to another edition of Sync as Show. Today I have another special guest all the way from Turkey, Ankara. Time and obviously your commitment to so many other things. Welcome all the way from Ankara. How's the weather?
The pleasure is mine to be on your program. The weather in Ankara is wonderful. We are enjoying the beautiful sun. I came to Turkey in 2010-2011 academic year. I won the government scholarship, that is the bilateral scholarship between the Turkish government and the Cameroon government, to study international relations in the Middle East Technical University in Ankara. I graduated with a bachelor degree in international relation, and then I still got a scholarship to study masters, and that is how I found myself in this country. During the period I applied for the scholarship, it was a time when corruption was um, very, very rampant in Cameroon. So to actually have access to a government scholarship and being the son of a layman was not something easy. And I tried my luck, and based on my academic excellence, I got the scholarship. It came to me as a surprise, but I think God was with me, and actually, my performance also in high school vouched for me.
Oh, well done. Congratulations. And I'm pretty sure it's an opportune moment, and like you said, being the son of a layman, it's a miracle, isn't it, to get an opportunity like that. So fast forward, finish your degree, your master's, and you also work.
Why, as a student, I was actually teaching English as a foreign language to private primary and secondary schools in Turkey. And when I graduated, I started this project, which we are about to talk about. But within my period in Turkey, I actually taught English in private schools.
So was that supporting your livelihood?
Yeah, it was like a part-time job, in a foreign country, then
Hmm.
coming from a background which, your parents are not up to the task to meet up your financial needs. I thought it wise that I should look for a job which is a part-time job that could sustain my living in Turkey and actually prepare me on higher grounds to achieve my goals.
Say you were a student and you became a teacher, supported yourself, and made it to the end of the whole journey. And how many years, down the line, here we are discussing a project that you've ventured on.
Yeah, I
So,
spent almost
mhm,
about that's 9 years in Turkey. But as I
yeah.
told you, I came on a scholarship. But during that period, the stipends we received was not actually enough to finance all our needs. So that is the reason why I decided that I should look for a part-time job.
Mm.
And I applied to many private schools in Turkey, and some of them accepted my application, and I was given a chance to teach English as well as prepare young students for Model United Nations, which we attended many conferences and won a lot of awards also.
Mm. Well done. Amazing story there. Now, because the time differences will not allow us to talk much, really, because I have to work too tomorrow morning. um, I want to go into Sinem. What does Sinem stand for?
Sinem is actually the name of my wife because Sinem Africa Medical was actually an idea that was born between I and my wife.
Hmm.
So in 2014, during the Ebola outbreak in West Africa, that is in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, and in Guinea. There
Mm-hmm.
was actually this outcry about um, Africans overwhelming the health systems of European countries. So we had a discussion about the health system in Africa. So while we were deliberating about the measures that Africans can put in place to see that they meet up with their health needs,
Mm-hmm.
we actually um, we actually discussed it and came up with an idea that there were many things that we could do at the micro level to actually ameliorate the health of the people in Africa.
So you took a name, and what does Sinem actually mean? Is it a Turkish name or African?
The name is a Turkish name, so I decided that since the project was a bridge between Africa and Turkey,
Yeah.
actually we should put a Turkish name that will actually solidifies that relationship between Turkey and Africa.
So from romance to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Pretty famous. Unique one as well. So when did this happen? When did you meet Sinem? Sinem the lady.
Yeah, I met Sinem in 2014 during Spring Fest in my university.
Hmm.
So I will say that dance united us together.
Oh,
Um,
you know what? Next time I need to get her on the show as well, and we discuss the romance part of this one. So, Sinem, that was in, and you started the idea in about what? The ideation was in 2014?
yeah, because
Eh,
after we met in the Spring Festival, subsequently we started meeting, and
mhm.
then the Ebola outbreak came to that is a media frenzy.
Mm,
So everybody was talking about this disease, and there was actually discussing about a ban on air transport from Africa to European countries as well as America. So in the course of that, we discussed a lot of health issues because a lot of people ask me that you study international relation. What's the reason that you decided to venture into medical sector? And
mm,
I told them that of course international relations is a broad field, so I'm actually involved in health security, and
mhm,
now with the politicization of health and the language which is always used as Africa is Africans are overwhelming the health systems of European countries. There are infestations in a country. I think that it was necessary for us to put a mechanism that can actually help the livelihood of our own people.
which is brilliant. So, would you say Sinem is an a give back project, like humanitarian, or is it purely entrepreneurship?
It's both entrepreneurship and a give back project. We are
Mm,
actually a company with a humanitarian mission.
mhm. So that brings me to the question of what does Sinem deliver, and to who does it deliver?
Sinem is a medical company which is specialized in the sales of blood pressure monitor, blood glucose monitor, orthopedic products, as well as first aid kits.
So, really basic medical equipment is what you're looking at.
Yeah, first of all, before we started this company, we
Mm,
decided to identify the key areas in Africa in which people are highly affected. And we
mhm,
realized that diabetes and high blood was at the rise. And we also realized that many schools and companies and homes, as well as motorists, do not have first aid kits. So sometimes children actually lost their life due to minor injuries sustained in schools. So we decided that we should actually start a company that actually identify those key areas which are not only a problem to our society, but which are also causing unwanted deaths that can be avoided.
Mm. So, Vitalis, if somebody asked you, how did you come up with the figures and the facts that support your argument, what would be your answer?
Um, I actually volunteer with a lot of organizations as well. I volunteered with UNICEF, and I I also volunteered with the World Health Organization, as well as I spoke to a lot of friends who are medical doctors across Africa. So all of these people actually provided me with data that um, propelled me to start this company. Because when I discussed with UNICEF, UNICEF actually, um, according to a research, found that almost um, 60 to 70% of the schools in the rural part of Africa do not have first aid kits, and children cannot even um, afford basic health services. Girls actually cannot even afford menstrual pad.
Mm.
And we also, from the research that was conducted by World Health Organization, we we according to the studies, we found that almost about 45% of Africans actually are affected with diabetes and high blood. This is as a result of the style of living, as well as the rise of urbanization that has actually altered the standard of living.
Hmm. See how you said diabetes? It's something unheard of. Like when I was younger in Africa, like,
Mm.
do you know a family member that it has affected, or some people close to you? Because what we are used to in Africa is malaria, typhoid, and Ebola, of course, things like that. But diabetes, you don't get to hear. Like I've only heard it in the West.
Yes, there are many illnesses in Africa that were actually unheard of. For example, when we are growing up, diseases like cancer was something that was strange in our ears. But now, due to globalization, we are affected by what the West actually brings into our markets. Like, for example, almost all of the infant industries in Africa has actually um, died down. Why? Because the government do not support infant industries, and that is why we have a lot of genetically modified products in our market.
Hmm.
This has actually caused um, these illnesses that were actually unheard of. As you asked for me to go back to your question, if someone in my family has been affected with this situation, yes, like my grandmother actually died because the doctor administered glucose serum in her without knowing that she had diabetes, and unfortunately, she passed away. My mom actually has diabetes, and my mom discovered it when it was um, in a serious stage. So these are things that most Africans actually can prevent just by um, purchasing or affording the devices. They can be able to actually control their blood levels as well as their sugar level before it reaches such situations.
No, I can't be more prouder of you because, like you said, often we get to a serious point, but and it's too late for us to cure it. but now you are going into the prevention stage, and that is by providing the equipments that will help you know assess first the diagnose and then assess the disease itself.
Yeah.
But you're only providing the products or the equipments, correct? Or is there anything additional to the equipments that you would provide the company?
Actually, we are providing them with education. Like when we talk about blood pressure monitor or um, the blood glucose monitor, a lot of people think that it's just for people who have high blood pressure or people who have diabetes. No, there are many of us who are healthy, but unfortunately, we don't know our BP level, or we don't know our sugar level. So, for us to know our BP level, our sugar level, it is vital for us to have these devices so that we can be able to know to control it and know what we eat. And what we'll be doing is that we will actually be providing free screening for people to actually check their blood pressure as well as to check their sugar level.
So you'll be providing the education aspect of it, the free screening, and obviously ensuring that you deliver the equipments to schools, hospitals, community centers. What's your
Yes.
major area of distribution?
Actually, this is something that cut across all walks of life. You do not need to actually go and stand on a long line to get your blood pressure control or to get a blood pressure test. You do not need to go and stand on a long line to control um, your sugar level. No, these are actually devices that you can actually sit in the house and control it without necessarily going to the hospital. So, in fact, the mission of this company is actually to bridge the hospital gap in Africa.
Mm.
We are bringing the hospitals to the doorsteps of the patients or of Africans.
Mm. Which brings me to the question, because you've said the mission, and so what's the vision of Sinem Africa Medical?
What the vision is actually to be the leading supplier of vital medical devices in Africa,
Mm.
as well as to be the leading humanitarian organization that provides services to people that will help to curb the blood, that is the rate of high blood pressure as well as diabetes in Africa. There will be many competitors actually. Africa has a lot of international companies
Mhm.
which provide medical services, but those people actually look at it from a business oriented perspective, or they actually deal with macro projects that provide these devices to hospitals. So we understand what the people on the ground are going through. So we are starting from the grassroots. And
Mhm.
I think that we will actually have a big monopoly of the market, but definitely there will be competitors. But now we will try as much as possible to differentiate our services. We are not only selling, but we are also providing assistance as well as screenings to Africans.
Mhm. So because the idea of starting this project was in 2014,
Yeah.
but we're in 2019. Run me through the stages of you know, starting the idea, establishing it, and now ready to go?
Okay. In 2014, when we discussed about establishing a medical company, we decided that we're going to actually conduct a research about the illnesses that affects or cut across the continent. So we studied it and we realized that there were a lot of people, young people, who actually died of cardiac arrest. We realized that according to the data from UNICEF as well as the data from World Health Organization, we realized that a lot of people were being affected with high blood pressure as well as diabetes. So we decided that okay, we are going to lay the groundwork for sensitizations as well as awareness. We started talking to people off the net.
Mhm.
That is telling them to change their eating habits as well as making them aware of genetically modified products in African markets. So when we finished that sensitization stage, we now started to discuss about laying a framework in which we could actually start executing things practically. So this was about setting up a company.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
So
because go for it.
in 2019, we decided to establish the company, and it's a work in process, I would say.
Mhm. Because we're thinking about linking Africa and Europe and the world
Mm,
essentially. And you said it's about bringing hospitals to the doorsteps of families, homes.
yeah.
Run me through the logistics.
Okay. Um, I am lucky to have a wife who works with top medical companies in Turkey, including um, top Japanese company Nipro. She understands actually the logistic chains. So most of the companies in which we have affiliations with them actually provide cargo services.
Okay.
Yes. So at the moment, we will operate from our base in Turkey, but we have a long-term goal to actually establish a company in Douala, which is actually going to be the headquarter of our company.
So you're not only providing, this equipments and services, but you're also looking at creating jobs because opening up a headquarter in Douala and the logistics between the two countries or continents. What is the human resource like at the moment?
At the moment, we have 5 staffs, which they are involved in networking, marketing, and sales, as well as training and awareness. But as that is when the company expands, we are actually going to train many people who actually help in the screening as well as in the delivery of this product. So we are actually expecting to have about 600 to 700 employees working under Sinem Africa Medical.
600 to 700 people in how long?
That will be our goal in 2023
Wow, that is really huge.
because we are planning that we should have a regional company in all the sub-regions in Africa.
Brilliant. Exciting news ahead. So, if I was to ask, when would be the first delivery?
The first, the first delivery, the first delivery have already been executed.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
where is it to?
Now, in particular, we are focused with the Cameroon market. We've actually provided medical devices to local health units as well as first aid kits to local health units.
Hmm.
We are also planning a project in October. That project will actually be a humanitarian project, which will be to provide free first aid kits to royal schools in Africa.
Wow, brilliant. This is really a blessing to us. And I also know you're going to Kenya. Is it honeymoon?
No, we are not going for a honeymoon. We are going for a business trip. There's going to be a medical conference which will bring medical experts um, across East Africa to Nairobi to discuss about health issues as well as about medical devices.
And what do you intend to get out of it?
That would be an opportunity for us to actually um, meet and talk with local entrepreneurs who understand what their community are going through. So we are actually going to prepare a questionnaire which will actually provide to these local entrepreneurs so that we can better understand how that is better understand the situations that people in their local communities are going through so that we can study to actually help us in advancing our goals.
Wow, brilliant. I wish you all the best. And would that be the first time Sinem will be in Africa?
Yeah, that will be the first time she'll be in Africa. And the
Hopefully,
first
the
time
sister-in-law is welcomed warmly.
yeah, thank you. It's going
Kenya
to
is a
be on.
beautiful country. I grew up there. I think
Okay.
for most part of my young life.
Hmm.
Um, and explore as much as you can apart from the conference. And it's also very much advanced, the technology. I'm pretty sure it's way, way better than when I left it. And a very educated society as well. Very advanced, extremely. Mm. So from then on, my next question is, how do we reach Sinem Africa Medical? How do we access this information for people that will not watch, this YouTube video or any other YouTube video that you'll put out there, or are not part of the networks in your company? How do we get information? How do we know, or how do we benefit from your services or the equipments that you provide?
We have a Facebook page which is Sinem Africa Medical, and um, that Facebook page actually do not that is the Facebook page do not only provide what we sell, but it also gives sensitizations about what we have to do in order to curb the rise of high blood as well as diabetes, and what we should do in case of accidents in our schools as well as in our homes, or accidents on highways, how we can respond to it with the first aid kits in our cars. So it's actually a platform that educates people. And for those who are actually offline, I will actually solicit to those who are online to actually reach to them. We have actually a contact number.
Hmm.
You can call and we are going to provide you free counseling as well as information.
Wow, brilliant. So what about a lot of people say Africa is inaccessible, there is no internet, the network is very poor, and you're trying to focus on Africa. How does that work?
There is actually the online market and the offline market. That is
Mhm,
why one of the things our company is planning to do is that we're going to employ local staffs that will actually go on a door-to-door campaign to
mhm,
make people or force them to actually do their blood pressure screening as well as their diabetes screening. So we will not only be marketing online, no, we're going to target the offline market, which actually is the huge market in Africa.
mhm. Which I think, I have a huge, I'm very much optimistic about this. And I want to take you back to when you came to Turkey, or you went to Turkey. Did you ever envision this?
You know, as we grow, time change, the people we come across also affects our life. So I can say that I didn't envisage it, but coming across my wife helped us to actually be where we are today.
And hopefully Sinem does hear this, and I'm pretty sure she's very much aware of it. You never envision, but you never know because there's a proverb in my language, in Afana Oromo, which says that those who travel or those who go out for adventure get to learn more and discover more.
That is
And
true. And like I was talking to my friend the other day about Africa, that sometimes when you travel um, out of Africa, a part of Africa actually travels with you. So there is always that tendency. There's actually um, that inner voice in you that is always asking the question, how do I give to my community? What are the services that I can provide? So when you move away from Africa, you understand that the continent is actually very vast. There are a lot of things that can be done, but unfortunately, we don't see it. Africa actually is a big market that can actually um, make all of us rich as well as healthy. We just
mhm.
need to identify those areas and provide those services.
Absolutely, I agree with you because I recently went back to my home country and I was amazed at the fact that people were sitting on resources and did not realize how lucky they are to be in that continent because here I am, every minute, every hour counts. I'm losing money. Or, I have to pay for every single thing to sustain myself. Whereas over there, you have access to a lot of resources, but we just don't know how to use them or utilize them. And I have a strong feeling Sinem will actually make people realize how lucky they are and how to utilize what they already have and capitalize on their skills and knowledge. And of course, benefit from what you'll take back home.
Thank you very much. And to add to what you just said, like we are sitting in vast resources, but unfortunately, um, our governments are selling the continents. That is what I will say. Like when you go to Africa, almost all of the mega projects are being executed by expatriates. We ask the questions, where are our engineers? All of these things are services that could be provided by Africans. But unfortunately, Africa has actually been the cake on the dinner table in which people from different parts of the world come to eat. So it's time actually for us to that is for us to rise up to the occasion and
Mm,
charter a new course for Africa. And I'm very happy. I'm very happy with the young Africans. There are many startups across the continent, startups that are actually changing the lives of many Africans. And we're proud of them.
mhm. And the project goes on. Really proud of you and happy that you have started this. And of course, your inspiration is Sinem the lady. And I just want to say congratulations on what you've achieved so far, and your big dream that you're going to give back to your community, but also educate, particularly the young people, on how to progress in their own country through entrepreneurship and change their society. They don't have to go across continents to change Africa. They can do it from there. And I really want to say thank you because you might be helping my country. You'll be helping, who knows, maybe my mom. You know what I mean? So I really congratulate you and I acknowledge the efforts that you're putting in there. And really thank you for the hard work.
Oh, I'm very grateful. And of course, as you say, that I may be helping your country, we should always remember that we are African first before we are Cameroonians or before we are Ethiopians or before we are Kenyans. We are first of all Africans.
Hmm, absolutely. Um, Vitalis Majang, thank you so much for your time. And I hope this will, this conversation will get out there and, people will hear about the Sinem Africa Medical. And next time we'll be talking about how Sinem and Vitalis met, uh, and how this blossomed. But also, I hope to speak about how many people you've reached out to, how many girls you're able to keep in school because you're able to, uh, through Sinem Africa Medical, you are able to provide sanitary pads, or how many people you're able to save because you train them on how to use first aid kits or even delivering the first aid kits, and how many hundreds of youngsters on the streets of Africa you provide jobs to, and but above all, the lives or the many lives that you'll be saving through your company. Hopefully that will be very soon, and hopefully I hope to hear from you once you get back from Nairobi.
The pleasure is mine, definitely. It's a pleasure to be on your program. Thank you very much.